Good morning, I'm Kenneth Moton.
And I'm Antonita Collins. Here are the top 5 things to know this Monday. Number 1, icy pavement is blamed for a massive pileup in Virginia, but today's warmer temperatures could cause holiday travel problems too. Ice may fall off buildings and trees, and more fog and poor visibility are likely.
Number 2, Democrats are stepping up calls for impeachment witnesses at a Senate trial, fueled by the release of newly released emails. They show the White House ordered a hold on aid to Ukraine just 90 minutes after President Trump's phone call with Ukrainian leader.
On to number 3, and more violence in Chicago. 13 people were shot at a memorial party. At least one person has been charged.
Number 4, the U.S. is keeping a close eye on North Korea amid warnings of an unspecified Christmas surprise. There's growing speculation that Kim Jong-un could abandon diplomacy and launch a long-range missile.
And finally, number 5, Christmas has come early for fans of the late, great Aretha Franklin.
MGM dropping the very first look at Jennifer Hudson as the Queen of Soul in the upcoming biopic, and you can just hear that beautiful sound there. The film, called Respect, is out next October. The film also stars Forest Whitaker and Mary J. Blige. Go ahead, just play it out. Go ahead, here's my moment. Yep. It's great to have Tony Collins back from ESPN here on It's Morning America.
Happy to be back. Thank you.
Antonietta.
Hey, you
Antonietta
did it.
Collins.
Oh my God, high five.
I got it. I put some respect on that name. All right, let's get right to that big story. There were new calls for impeachment witnesses fueled by newly released White House emails. They show the order to withhold military aid came just 90 minutes after President Trump and the Ukrainian president hung up the phone in July. ABC's Serena Marshall has the latest from Washington. Serena, good morning.
Kenneth, good morning. Those emails were heavily redacted. The White House so far not commenting, but calling that timeline purely coincidental. But it has raised new calls now for those individuals included on the emails to come and testify.
As Republicans and Democrats continue to spar over impeachment,
they had to rush to this impeachment vote, and then all of a sudden she's sitting on it.
If he really believes it's thin because the President of the United States ordered his top people who were in the room, who have firsthand knowledge, not to testify.
New details from new emails filling in the timeline of events surrounding the freezing of nearly $400 million in military aid to Ukraine. Just 91 minutes after the now infamous phone call between President Trump and Ukraine's President, Michael Duffy, a senior official with the Office of Management and Budget, emailed the Pentagon to please hold off on that funding to Ukraine, requesting they keep it quiet, given the sensitive nature of the request. The 146 pages of heavily redacted emails also shows the president first inquiring about the aid weeks prior, and they were obtained by the Center for Public Integrity following a federal judge's ruling, not by Congress, which the White House continues to refuse to cooperate with. But Duffy is one of the 4 witnesses who Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has said he wants to hear from during the Senate trial.
Until we hear from the witnesses, until we get the documents, the American people will correctly assume that those blocking their testimony were aiding and abetting a cover-up.
On the campaign trail, though, impeachment not part of the candidate's case.
Mr. Vice President, can we ask you one question about it? Mr. Vice President, one question on impeachment.
Making a final pre-holiday blitz through the Hawkeye State with the caucus just weeks away, voters lining up to see the South Bend mayor.
This will be the 3rd event that I've been to, and just want to hear some more of what he has to say.
Who took new heat at the last debate.
The mayor just recently had a fundraiser that was held in a wine cave full of crystals.
I am literally the only person on this stage who's not a millionaire or a billionaire.
As they continue to vie for the party's nomination to take on President Trump, the calls over impeachment here in Washington are at a standstill. That comes back to those witnesses, and it seems the majority and minority leaders still cannot come to an agreement. Kenneth, Tony.
All right, Serena Marshall there in Washington. Thank you.
And breaking overnight, an American soldier has been killed in action in Afghanistan, and the Taliban is claiming responsibility. The Pentagon said it happened this morning, but declined to release further details. This is the 20th U.S. service member killed in Afghanistan this year. More than 2,400 Americans have died since the war started 18 years ago.
Health officials in Chicago are raising alarms about the measles.
They say a traveler with a confirmed case of the infection visited O'Hare Airport, as well as the near North and Greektown neighborhoods earlier this month. Officials are trying to contact anyone who may have been exposed.
The New Zealand volcano disaster has claimed another victim.
Maya Singh, an American from the Atlanta-area, died last night. She had been severely burned in the eruption. Her husband is still in the hospital in stable condition. They were among 9 Americans visiting the volcano's island. Mrs. Singh is the 19th victim from the tragedy earlier this month. 2 other people are still missing and presumed dead.
There are new details on the murder of a Texas mother whose close friend is now facing charges. Police are looking at baby snatching as a possible motive in the case. Heidi Broussard's mother says the family is overwhelmed with grief and focusing on spending time with her 6-year-old son. ABC's Kaylee Hartung is in Texas.
Growing questions about the killing of Heidi Broussard. The 33-year-old mother of 2 found strangled to death in the trunk of her close friend's car, nearly 200 miles from home. Megan Firamuska, now in jail, charged with kidnapping Broussard and her newborn baby. But no one has been charged with her murder. A baby believed to be Broussard's, found by police unharmed inside Firamuska's home. The arrest stunning Broussard's loved ones. One woman who says she's been friends with both women since they first met more than 20 years ago was live on a podcast when the news broke.
That's Megan's house. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What?
That's Megan, her best friend that met her at church camp with me.
Caressa Nolte says Firamuska acted as if she was sick over Broussard's disappearance.
Her and Heidi are best friends. She was there in the room when Heidi had Margot.
Firamuska even offered to help in the search for Broussard. One of the search leaders expressing his shock at how Firamuska deceived him just days before her arrest.
I can't believe how sincere she sounded. It was just kind of scratching my head trying to figure out how in the world could this person sound so convincing.
Police now investigating whether Firamuska was plotting to steal Broussard's baby after faking a pregnancy. The baby believed to be Broussard's is in foster care until DNA testing confirms the child's identity. Officials tell us they're hopeful to have those results on Monday, and then they'll be able to determine the proper place for the newborn. Kaylee Hartung, ABC News, Austin, Texas.
A surfer is recovering from a shark attack off the coast of Southern California. A Coast Guard chopper airlifted the 37-year-old man who had been surfing near Santa Rosa Island. Someone on a nearby boat had applied a tourniquet to his leg and called for help. One official said it was the best possible outcome to a truly terrifying situation.
A yellow-green slime containing a cancer-causing chemical oozed onto a Detroit highway, forcing the road to close. Environmental inspectors now say the slime does not pose a threat to drinking water or air quality. The chemical was leaking from the basement of an industrial business that was shut down. The cleanup and lane closures are expected to last through the holidays.
One of the cruise ships involved in that collision in Mexico has returned home. The Carnival Glory and the Carnival Legend ran into each other at Cozumel, Mexico last Friday. Both sustained some damage but no serious injuries. The Glory dropped off its passengers yesterday morning in New Orleans and was getting ready to depart on another cruise only a few hours behind schedule. Carnival Legend also returned to port in Tampa.
Some kids aren't waiting for Santa to show up with their Christmas gifts this year.
Some children are using Amazon's Alexa to order their own Christmas presents. One dad caught a break when Tesla-branded pants showed up at his house. His 5-year-old told him he'd actually ordered a Tesla. Amazon says voice ordering can be turned off. Parents can also set voice-activated pins.
So he got lucky with the pants versus the actual car.
Could you imagine?
No,
Joke's on
not
you,
at
Dad.
All right, well, coming up, why these wrestlers are taking over a subway stop in Mexico City.
But first, what went wrong with the Boeing Starliner and why it returned to Earth early? After this.
Welcome back. The crew of the International Space Station is doing without some holiday gifts this year because they weren't delivered.
Yeah, those gifts were part of the payload on Boeing spacecraft that never arrived at the station. ABC's Trevor Ault has the details.
Starliner touches down in the desert in New Mexico.
The Boeing Starliner now back down on Earth, intact but unfortunately ahead of schedule. Just days ago, the unmanned capsule had a picture-perfect launch from Cape Canaveral, bound for the International Space Station. But it never made it there, and while the reason why could be called rocket science, the simple version is that there was a problem with the clock.
And that anomaly resulted in the vehicle believing that the time was different than it actually was.
That error in timing meant the Starliner didn't fire its rockets at the right time to get into the correct orbit, and Boeing engineers trying to launch them manually couldn't get the signal through. So that trip to the space station with food, Christmas presents for the astronauts, and Rosie the Rocketeer on board had to be scrapped.
It's an automation issue.
If there were astronauts on board, they would have been able to take over the sequence and probably not make the errors that were made.
There were hopes the Starliner's trek would have been a historic step in NASA's Commercial Crew program, which the agency says aims to get American astronauts on American rockets back into space by working with private companies like Boeing and SpaceX. It's created a modern-day space race, though SpaceX founder Elon Musk offered a supportive olive branch to Boeing, tweeting, "Orbit is hard," and wishing the Boeing team well on the landing.
I think the 2020s are going to be the roaring 20s for space travel. This is going to be a very exciting decade coming up.
All right, thanks to Trevor there, and let's hope they get some holiday messages. Can get the gifts, but they can get some holiday messages. Well, let's turn to Hong Kong now, where more clashes have broken out between police and protesters, this time at a rally in support of the Uighur Muslim minority group. Let's go across the pond to our foreign correspondent, Julia McFarland, for more. Julia, good morning.
Morning, Kenneth. Yes, so the unrest in Hong Kong is continuing, but this time protesters were gathered against Chinese treatment of Uyghurs. They're an ethnic minority in China, largely in the Xinjiang province. They were holding up flags of the independence movement there in Xinjiang, and they were chanting against the Chinese authorities. Guys, this is really interesting because, you know, we've seen for more than half a year now Hong Kong protesting against Beijing's influence in Hong Kong, and just with these protests, it is another way that the small territory is marking itself out as separate from mainland China. Now, China has been accused of a mass crackdown against Uyghurs and other ethnic minorities in Xinjiang. Reports of millions being held in heavily secured prison-like camps. Have to say that the Chinese, they say that these are not internment camps. They say that they are vocational education centers which provide a bulwark against religious extremism. But just want to draw your attention to the fact that there's another sports star who has now called out very publicly against China's policy of Uyghurs. Sonny B. Williams, he is a very well-known rugby star. He used to play for the New Zealand All Blacks, their national team. He tweeted, "It's a sad time when we choose economic benefits over humanity, hashtag Uyghurs." Now, just remember that the soccer Arsenal player Mesut Ozil, he recently spoke out against the issue. His team distancing themselves from his comments, but that led the Chinese to take off a soccer match from their terrestrial broadcast in the last few weeks.
Julia, and there was another incident involving Chinese detention centers over the weekend. A girl there in the UK reportedly found a note from a prisoner in a holiday card.
Tony, this is a fascinating story, and yeah, you're right, it's quite similar. So a 6-year-old girl from South London, she opened a box of Christmas charity cards and found a secret message scrawled inside. Now, Tesco, it's the UK's biggest grocery supermarket stores. It's one of the biggest stores in the world. They have now suspended all production from this particular factory in China, and they have started an investigation into this. What happened was this little girl, as you say, she read a message saying, "We are foreign prisoners in the Shanghai Qingpu prison, forced to work against our will. Please help us and notify human rights organizations." It also urged the reader to contact Peter Humphrey. He is a former journalist who spent almost 2 years detained in this very prison. He was on the BBC this morning, and he said that he was very moved to have been asked to take responsibility on shining a light on this issue. But guys, I just want to say, when I was reading about this story, I found out this is not the first time a kind of message in a bottle has been sent to the outside world from inside these secretive prison camps. And guys, in Oregon in 2012, a woman called Julie Keith, she found a letter stashed inside a box of Halloween toy decorations all those years ago. And I just want to read you this letter. She bought this box from Kmart, and she found this inside. "Sir, if you buy this product, please kindly resend this letter to human rights organizations. Thousands of people who are here under the persecution of the Communist Party will thank and remember you forever. This product was produced by Masanja labor camp in China. People who work here have to work 15 hours a day, without breaks, without weekends, without holidays. Otherwise, they will suffer torture, beating and abuse at nearly no payment. 10 won per month." Guys, that is $1.42 per month. Now, ICE's Homeland Security Investigations team were looking into that case back in 2012. Meanwhile, Julie Keith, who bought that box of decorations, she said that it's made her check the labels of everything that she buys now. And she says, it's really made me more aware. If I really don't need it, I won't buy it if it's made in China.
All right, Julia, so let's lighten things up a bit and move on to Mexico City, where these, now help me out here, Tony. These are luchador?
No, luchador.
Luchador.
There you
Luchador
go. Oh,
wrestlers took over a subway stop. So what's this all about? ¿Qué pasa?
I'm really glad you helped me out with the pronunciation of that, because that is not how I was going to pronounce it. So anyways, luchador, butchering my Spanish there. Now there's this arts foundation called Lucha Arts, and they commemorated 50 years of Mexico City's subway. Now it's huge. It carries 1.6 billion riders a year in an urban population of 22 million residents. The lines span 140 miles, making it one of the world's most extensive urban rail networks. And so to celebrate its 50 years, they decided to showcase an open-air wrestling match. And they chose this because wrestling is quintessentially a Mexican pastime. It's the second most followed sport in the country after soccer. There's a rather colorful quote here from the AP. They interviewed one of the grandmasters of Mexican wrestling about the initiative, who he said, Lucha Libre, Tony, correct me on that pronunciation, please, is a therapy. Instead of yelling at the missus when they arrive home or at the mother-in-law, they arrive calm. They already yelled at the wrestlers. So look at how sport combats toxic masculinity. I thought that was quite a nice quote.
Yeah, lucha libre in Mexico is actually, it's sacred. It's like you grew up with it, and it's part of the culture, part of your lifestyle. It's everything.
Yeah, lots of movies have been made about it.
Nacho Libre.
Yeah, she's in my head. She knows which one.
I didn't want to draw that distinction. I didn't know if that was the same, but so thanks, Kenneth, for doing that for
definitely.
me.
I'm here for you. Hey, Julia, thank you. We appreciate it. All right,
Happy Christmas, guys.
Hey, Merry Christmas. Oh, wait, is this it for you this week?
Yes, this is it. I'm going down to the Isle of Wight for Christmas, so I will miss you guys tomorrow.
Oh, this is the time of the year where we get to see Julia's Instagram that has beautiful pictures of holiday.
There will be lots of dogs and lots of food. I'm looking forward to my food coma on Christmas Day.
Now you're, when you say holiday, it actually makes sense now. Instead of,
yes,
it's vacation for us.
Christmas vacation.
It's vacation for us, but now when you say holiday, now it makes sense.
You will make an American out of me one day, Kenneth.
Oh, love it, love it. Thank you, friend. Merry Christmas,
guys.
Have a great holiday. We'll see you soon.
You too.
Let's check our notifications now, starting with a real mean one. He is a mean one, that Mr. Grinch. They're riding a chopper there in Oregon, and then watch this moment here. Oh no, Mr. Grinch. Why? Okay. Next, check out this video of a shaggy suspect in eastern Oklahoma. That's the neighbor's dog stealing a package filled with jerky and other food from a woman's porch. The so-called pooch pirate's name is Max. He is now in doggy detention. Poor, look at him. Oh, Max. But apparently he's still welcome next door.
I'd take him. I'd give
You
him
would
all
take
the
him?
jerky, yes.
All the jerky he wants there. He didn't mean to. He just thought he was.
He was caught red-handed.
He's like, oh, there's free jerky here.
I mean,
I'll take it.
It's there for the taking.
Yeah.
All right. A mom and dad's attempt to prank their 2-year-old by giving her the worst Christmas gift ever backfired. It also confirms she loves fruit.
Little Aria loved her wrapped banana. The failed joke has more than 12 million views online, so lucky for us, the parents tried to play that joke on little Aria there. Merry Christmas to her. Love it.
Yes, and cats may actually not have 9 lives, but the movie version will get at least 2.
After opening to dismal reviews and low box office sales, the film adaptation of the hit musical Cats has been re-edited.
Yeah, the film was so rushed, the character played by Judi Dench was set to be seen with a human hand instead of a paw.
Yikes. That's a little bit of an oops. Hey, and as the year comes to a close, we're looking back on the music and the moments that became cultural obsessions in 2019. So forget memory lane. This year is a trip down the Old Town Road.
Ooh, from J-Lo to Lizzo, Lara Spencer is looking back at this year's obsessions.
From music and movies to fashion, our pop culture obsessions are everything. Are you in? Starting with the woman whose every move was a jaw-dropping moment of 2019.
This year, I gotta be honest, I have been so blessed.
Jennifer Lopez is everything, and this is her time.
From sharing her engagement to Alex Rodriguez on Instagram, to switch and rap, to her star turn in the film Hustlers.
This movie was produced by women, it was written and directed by women, it was edited by women, it's starring all women. It's pretty exciting.
And with the new year also came new joy.
Megan and myself had a baby boy.
When he announced the baby's birth, he was by himself. He was obviously very, very excited, over the moon, as any new dad would be. He was almost giddy.
In fact, he actually thanked the horses behind him.
Thanks, guys.
Then the moment we had all been waiting for, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex introducing their newborn, Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor.
We're just obsessed with the royals. But Meghan is an American, and she named her kid Archie.
People lost their minds over Archie. Nobody cares that he's the 7th in line. He's #1 in popularity.
Alexa, play Old Town Road.
Gonna take my horse to Old Town Road.
Riding its way into our #1 obsession, Old Town Road by Lil Nas X, featuring Billy Ray Cyrus.
When I first heard the song Old Town Road, I thought it was a joke. Got the horses in the back.
The horses in the back, looks like it's attached. And it's matted black, got the horses black and mad.
It's the biggest record of 2019, point blank period.
I'm gonna ride till I can't no more.
Oh, there's some good ones in there. What a year. And so that's our question of the day. What were you obsessed with this past year? Tell us in the comments or tweet us at ABC News Live. What music, what movie, what cultural, pop culture
Baby
thing.
Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
Dark horse in there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Let us know. We want to hear from you. Coming up, thousands of people in Los Angeles are getting a surprise gift this holiday season.
Someone is paying off all of their medical debt. Find out who after this.
Welcome back. It really will be the most wonderful time of the year for some lucky LA residents this week. A church there is paying off more than $5 million in medical debt for thousands of people.
KABC's Miriam Hernandez has the heartwarming story.
A holiday surprise coming in the mail for select people throughout LA, overwhelmed by medical bills. A gift from Christian Assembly Church in Eagle Rock, wiping out $5.3 million of debt forever.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall for someone receiving a notification like this.
There's 5,555 people that will benefit from this, and they'll all be receiving letters in the mail this week.
A letter from RIP Medical Debt. It states you no longer owe the balance, no strings attached. RIP is a national nonprofit that bundles unpaid medical debt. Entities like Christian Assembly can then buy that debt. Members, think of the impact.
Just to be able to open that envelope and be like, oh my gosh, my debt's been paid.
$5.3 million is being erased, and we're able to purchase that on only a penny a dollar.
About $50,000 the church has collected in the past year. The members unaware of how it would be used. The big reveal planned for Christmas services.
So right now on my own social media feed, I'm just like, we have a big surprise.
The payoff will benefit low-income people in 28 communities across LA County. Because of privacy laws, no one but the billing company knows who is on the list.
So what happens if you think the letter is junk mail and you just throw it away? Well, nothing. Your debt still gets cleared.
What Christian Assembly says you may notice, no more calls from bill collectors. Your credit rating will improve. A gift from above.
God's for you, and we're excited to share this gift of generosity because of the generosity of our God.
Miriam Hernandez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Our thanks to Miriam Hernandez and KABC. That is just incredible. 5,555 struggling families that are impacted by this, and they're going to get some help.
And that's what you hope with these stories, that they make an impact and that others follow the same suit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that is a great note for us to end as we kick off this big holiday week here, the last full week of the year of 2019. Can you believe it? And it's great to have Tony Collins here from ESPN. We will see you tomorrow.